elegant listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. It's me, your master of balls and holes, Tyler Scheid himself, returning to the scene after my birthday. And actually,
you should look in the camera when you talk.
I'm looking at that camera. Should I? Oh, I should look at my camera. You're right. That's probably smart. Hello, elegant listeners, and welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. I'm back.
Nah, maybe it was better when you're looking.
Oh, now you're throwing me off.
Hey, everyone, look at their legs. They're the same, but mirrored. It's like they're brothers.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're here with my brother Jared, obviously Mark, my co-host, in this fantastical headband, of course. This is practically the hair universe from
space.
Yeah,
this is pretty good. I like this. Yeah.
So you got long, luscious locks over there. You got headband in glory, almost Rambo-esque. And then I've got my mullet-looking fro out the back.
Mullets are in right now.
So many people online have been like, what's with Tyler and his mullet? And I'm like, my hair is pulled back, guys. It's not like normally just out the back.
You know, you just got to do, because in the hair universe, you had the big handlebar mustache.
Oh, yeah.
I think you should actually do that. Legitimately, mustaches are getting back in. You know, they're starting to stop being creepy, you know, and so like they're starting to come back. And so it was beards for a while. I think it's going to be mustaches. And I think it's going to be like, if you rock a handlebar, you're going to get so much attention.
You think I should rock that in Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
The mustache, the mullet, the exotic American.
Well, I'm getting rid of the hair. The hair's getting cut off. That's
the
all right.
wingspan.
No, that's the mullet. You just do the front.
Do a front mullet. It's short in the back, long in the front. And walk around Thailand just like T-posing. Like, look at me. Look how big my wingspan is.
Well, when the audience is watching and / listening to this episode, I will be in Thailand because this episode is going to be, I believe, either just before or just after Jared's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Not yet.
All right.
Right?
Don't tell people my birthday.
I didn't tell him the year. Fine. February. Bleep it out, Sam.
He was never born.
Never existed. The man that I refer to, everybody, actually, part of the reason for this episode is there's so many people in the audience that were accusing saying my brother didn't exist. Because I'd always talk about all the stuff you're doing, the adventures and everything that's going on. And they'd be like, there's no way he's done all of this. And I'm like, he has.
Yeah, this is just the man that Tyler wants to be. This is living out his fantasies in his head.
Hang on,
but now here I am.
I think that's hitting too close to home. Wait, no.
Are you saying I want to be you? I mean, your lifestyle, I'm a little bit envious. You get to go and have fun most of the time.
Yep.
But
Perpetual playtime.
You could do that.
I know. That's why I'm going to Thailand.
You don't have to go to Thailand to do that.
I have to. That's
easy. Watch out, Thailand. Tyler's coming, and he's going to have perpetual fun in Thailand. So be careful.
Anyway, so this has been one of the most interestingly chaotic intros, but I like it.
I think it's fine. I think you got an issue.
Seems on brand to me.
Very Go, my favorite sports team. So, Jared, you're my brother. You've known me since I was born, obviously. But you have always leaned towards doing sports that I didn't do. It's like you said, you're the master of wings and things, or wings and stuff, or whatever you said.
Wings and things, the one that rhymes.
You got it right the first time.
But it has always fascinated me in the sense of like, I've always leaned towards particular sports, usually involving balls and holes and other people like team sports. But you've always leaned towards sports that I didn't necessarily pursue. Like you swimming, like we both did swim lessons, but you pursued swimming as a sport. You've gone and done a lot more extreme stuff outdoors, and it's always been something that's really intriguing to me. And we did some of it like in scouts and camping and various stuff like that.
We grew up skiing together too.
Yeah, and skiing. But like there was a difference even then. Like you actually competed in ski race competitions. You did slalom.
Oh, I mean, that's like the playtime races that they have at the ski.
That's a little baby races.
I wasn't in a league or anything.
But I never did it. You remember? I skied alongside it. You were the only one that did it. There was an interesting active pursuit of things vastly different than mine that always intrigued me. And it was something that I never really touched on. I thought it would be a really cool time to kind of highlight that because in a lot of ways, I studied sport and I did a lot of different things along those lines. But the sports that you have done are the things that I never really pursued. In that semblance, I just kind of wanted to highlight that with this episode because there are so many different sports that I know about because of you, and not because of my education or because I played it, but because you actively pursued it. I never would have gone paragliding, park skiing, skateboarding, all that stuff was you. I mean, you were the one who came up with the street luge when we had Matilda pull us down the street while we laid on the skateboard.
The what? Matilda?
That was our first dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to get Chica to pull me on a sled. She's just lazy. She
Yeah,
didn't
it
even
didn't
move.
really work that well, but it was just fun. We had the skateboard and we weren't very good at it. So like it's it's hard to stand on the skateboard. We're like, oh yeah, if we lay down on it, it's street luge.
Yeah.
Yeah, using a skateboard. We used a sled in the grass, so maybe it's not Chica's fault she couldn't pull us.
Well, we had to get Matilda by she would chase one of us. One of us would run and then she'd chase, and we had this little foam harness that actually our dad helped us make.
Yeah, it was made out of pipe insulation and duct tape.
Oh,
yeah,
good. That's great.
The only reason we stopped doing it was because we had I think it was Drew, and he sat up when we told him he had to let go, and he sat up, and so Matilda launched him off the skateboard onto the pavement. And so he got beat up, and then it was like, guys, you can't do it anymore.
I just remember Matilda wasn't a very good sled dog. She was a hound dog. She didn't want to run. She wanted to lay down.
Oh, no.
This was when she was young and spry.
She was lazy when she was young and spry?
No, I'm saying the street luge.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wanted to go ahead and kind of talk about how you first started getting into a lot of this new stuff. Like even at school, you'd like climb random stuff.
Just, growing up, we'd climb in trees. I mean, you were there too. I think I probably did it more. I don't know why.
You just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I still do. Climbing up things and flying things. And
I'm going to get back into bouldering soon here. Yeah, because there's a really nice bouldering gym right by me and that I used to go to like every morning, just like going calm and relaxing and then get an intense workout in. But then I fell out of it with the movie and stuff. But it's like climbing things. That's such a primal, grounded human experience that everyone should enjoy. Everyone does enjoy it. But then jumping off of things, that's where the real fun is. Because as a kid, I would climb up things and then jump off of things. That's the awesome part. Till I broke my arm.
Well, I mean, I broke my arm again, and then and the second time I broke my back.
Oh, what? Wait, no, you told me about this. Wait, what?
No, I just like to start the conversation like, oh yeah, the second time I broke my back, and people are like, wait, you broke your back twice?
You broke your back twice? Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah,
I
what?
mean, I don't try to break my back. It's not really fun or glamorous.
Well, the first time I called him because it was after my kidney transplant, I yelled at him, and then he's like, "Tyler, shut up! You're doing the same thing." And I was like, "Okay, that's fair." Because tell the story of the first time you broke your back.
Oh, the first time I broke my back, I was cliff diving, made a dumb decision, like was doing a dive from way too high and like hit the water just a little weird and kind of like folded me in half on impact.
Oh.
Yeah, so it got the wind knocked out of me and like thankfully I was able to surface and like doggy paddle over to the side and like climb out of the water and go to the hospital.
Yeah, so did you know immediately, like, I broke my back?
Well, I mean, like something was wrong. I was underwater. Like I wasn't trying to breathe underwater, but I knew I had the wind knocked out of me and like it hurt. And
how high?
It was probably about 50 feet.
Cliff diving is where you're up on a ledge trying to dive into the ocean or something, right? It's not a parachute thing. You're probably like 50 feet up and you jump. And this is where everyone says, but it's hard to conceptualize. Water turns into concrete at a certain speed.
Right.
It just is. That's the way it is. So yeah, if you land funny, I guess, man.
Yeah, that's chemistry for you guys.
It's physics actually, but
I was making a joke.
I was acting dumb.
No, I was making a joke as in the sense of water actually turns into concrete as opposed to the
that's
water
alchemy.
Physically.
That's alchemy.
That's magical chemistry.
That is alchemy, I suppose.
Well, we don't have to talk about my injuries. I think I'd rather talk about why I do my sports.
Yeah.
No, that was what we did with Alex Honnold.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about.
We're just gonna talk about how beat up you are. No, but it's always fascinating because in a lot of ways it helped me learn what I don't want to do. Because you would get hurt, but more than anything, like going back to when we were kids, the reason I started climbing is I followed you up a tree. You used to pull me out of the crib as a baby. So mom and dad would tell us the story that they would hear two thuds on the floor and then laughter, and they'd know that Jared got me out of the crib. Because
so
he
a
would
jailbreak, not just like.
Yeah, so he would climb into the crib, push me up, push me over, thud. Then he'd climb over and thud onto the floor next to me, and I'd just be laughing on the floor.
Wow,
that was the story. But I was always curious in the sense of like, how did you discover half the stuff that you have pursued over the years? Because getting into swimming and getting into that stuff.
I kind of fell into a lot of things growing up. Mom and dad took us skiing, and so I really love skiing. And like the whole reason I moved out to the mountains, like I went on my senior year of college, I went on a trip with the ski and snowboard club. Pretty much decided like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm not ready to get a real job. So I moved out to Colorado and that I think the things just kind of kept coming. So I would just ski and ski and ski. And then I have some friends that rock climb. Like, oh yeah, teach me how to rock climb. And then I get into that and I'm like, oh wow, like why have I not been doing this my whole life? Like I've been climbing trees. This has been here the whole time. And then from rock climbing and skiing, I was like another friend like got me into, I don't do all of the sports. Like I have friends that like do whitewater kayaking and mountain biking. I dabbled in mountain biking a little bit, but like a friend that he just got into paragliding and he had some like old gear and he just gave it to me to practice with.
Oh, nice.
And then I just like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. This is fun.
Question, do you find that it's just about the fun, or do you feel like it gives you a sense of fulfillment in terms of like, not quite purpose? Cause it's like, I don't know, but for some people, maybe like the purpose is to like pursue those extremes and something like that. Do you feel like it gives you that? Or is it just enjoyment?
Purpose? Well, so it kind of evolves. So I think, I do something the first time like, oh yeah, this is fun. Yeah, we could go into the types of fun. I don't know if you guys are familiar with type 1, 2, or 3 fun.
What? There's fun 2 dropped? Wow, fun 3?
Drop the facts of fun for us, please.
All right, the 3 types of fun. Type 1 fun is what you think about. Fun right here, right now. Like this is type 1 fun, like just pleasurable. Type 2 fun is fun when it's done. So it's something that might be grueling or you're suffering through it, but then when you finish, you're like, oh yeah, like I'll do that again. Like go like climbing a mountain.
Okay.
So 1 is immediacy, 2 is delayed.
Yeah. And then type 3 fun is like, it's really not fun at all. It's grueling. It's terrible. You look back at it with, I hated that, but it's a good story.
It's fun because of what you get to say about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd say like the movie I'm working on is type 2 fun for sure, because it's like it's super grueling, a lot of work, a lot of all-nighters, but when it's done, it's going to be so fun. But there have been times when I do type 3 fun. I've never heard of this qualification, but it makes so much sense.
The outdoor space is where, I don't know where this was born, but it's ingrained in me now.
I love that. I love that.
Fascinating.
Did you hear that from someone, or did you come up with it yourself?
I don't remember. It might have been in like a rock climbing magazine, when I first like saw it like for real. But I think I heard it from somebody. I don't know how long it's been around. It'd be interesting, the history of fun types.
I know, because I try to keep telling people like I'm not a masochist. I just like pushing myself to do things. What is he doing?
Because the audience already yelled at you about that in the last episode.
You're a type 2 fun connoisseur.
Exactly. I am, because I enjoy not the experience of like the grueling thing, and I don't pursue pain. It's not like I got pepper sprayed in the face once. Guess what? I don't want to get pepper sprayed again, but I did it because it sucked and we made a video of it. That was type 3 fun, actually, because there was no part of that was enjoyable. But it was a great story in that it's a video. But I encourage people to pursue things that are uncomfortable, pursue things that are grueling, because it teaches you a lesson and it provides a sense of satisfaction that is not immediate. And for me, as a person with ADHD, a lot of my life has been pursuing just immediate satisfactions. Like for immediate enjoyment, it is so good for you as a person and the human experience to have that delayed satisfaction through hard effort. It is necessary to grow yourself as a person. It's not the only thing in life, but it's like, that's why I do those things, because it's grueling. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's painful, but the reward. So or it's a good story. Like, there's something to that.
So I guess like circle back, that's kind of the purpose.
Well, it is. Yeah. And that's why I asked it, because like it sometimes is like people don't get why like the extreme, but it's like, there is a weird intangible purpose in there. There's that sense of being, the belonging, of like, I am human and alive and I was meant to do something like this, intensive. And so like not many people understand that pursuit and that chase. And also it's not for everybody. Some people definitely don't need that. Like I'm not telling everyone to go cliff diving right now. Don't do that. I'm not going to. Don't worry.
Yeah, lots of risk assessment.
Yes, risk assessment. That's important.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something. I mean, I've always done team sports in an organized fashion where everything's right there, but you've always pursued like backcountry stuff, whether it's what you're doing now with paragliding and mountain biking, but also when you did the backcountry skiing and stuff, and you talked about the one time you walked past a zone and saw it was like, that's a little too sketch. And I think that was like 2 days before like an incident happened or something like that.
I mean, I don't want to get super dark on this podcast, but like the people, they got caught in a big avalanche and a guy died.
Yeah.
Like minutes later.
Minutes later?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's the reality. Like, yeah, risk assessment is important, but these extreme sports, yeah, people do lose their lives. I mean, that's what Alex was talking about too. Is just like, of course, every year you hear some guy fell. And it's like it just takes one slip, and that's it. Yeah. Or bad luck, that probably does account to more bad luck than anything.
Assessing and finding whether it's worth it. I mean, he's even talked about when we were talking to Honnold at the time that it started raining, and they were like, well, and it got really slippery, and they were on their way down, but it was one of those instances where, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have been up here right now. And then, sometimes that stuff just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I guess you gotta get off the mountain, I suppose. Yeah.
You go skiing in a ski resort, and it's kind of a controlled environment, and like things are kind of laid out for you, and like you could still get yourself into trouble in a ski resort for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with other people.
Yeah. But when you start getting into backcountry stuff, like you have to have a lot more self-reliance, especially like you're out in the elements. You have to be really good at weather forecasting and like contingency plans and like having the right supplies for like if you have to do a self-rescue or a partner rescue, if something happens, because you're in the backcountry and you're doing these things that are extra risky. Yeah, paragliding, it's a high velocity sport. Even though we go like 25 miles an hour, like you still like something goes wrong, you can hit the ground pretty hard.
I mean, I still remember launching off of the one zone in the tandem, and the wind really caught the wing and pulled us back really hard. And
oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's not always perfect, especially with a tandem. When I'm flying somebody else, you have to take somebody else's life. That has to go into the risk tolerance. Like me, I'm going out alone, like single guy, no kids. I have family obviously here, so my calculation is mostly like, I want to get out alive and unscathed, obviously, but this person's relying on me. I need to like take fewer risks, and like that day it was pretty windy, and it was kind of a technical inflation, but you were good. You held your ground, and the wing kind of pulled us back, and like because you're taller than me, it pulled me off the ground, but you were still on the ground, and so I like was like, I think I like fell down, but I was still like controlling the glider. Then we're good. We ran off the mountain and flew away.
Yeah, I didn't even notice you fell down. The funniest thing about that is I felt like I thought I was tripping over a rock, and then it moved. And so once we were in the air, I go, "Did you fall down?" And he's like, "Yep." And I was like, "Oh, all right." It's so fascinating to me because so much of the sports that you have done with backcountry skiing and paragliding, those are the two ones that like come off the top of my head. But you also did diving in high school and things like that, which is what kind of made you feel comfortable cliff diving. And a lot of people would call those adrenaline junkie sports. Same with your trad climbing. And we technically what we did was a scramble, but it was free solo. But
it was a free solo. But like we call it scrambling.
Scrambling, I looked up, like it has to do with the slope. The down climb was definitely a free solo. That was more vertical.
So we not to get like too in the weeds with climbing grades, but like just a hike on a dirt path is like class 1. And then 2 is like it's a steep mountain and it could be rocky. Class 3 is like when you start scrambling. Like if you fall, like you might get hurt a little bit. And then class 4 is more scrambling, but like not terribly technical, and it like more danger in the fall. And then 5th class is most of what rock climbing is. So when you hear somebody talking about climbing 515, so that 5, it's 5.15, that's 5th class.
That makes so much more sense.
That's my first time understanding that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so the climb that Tyler and I did is a 5.6.
Okay.
So it is in the range of technical rock climbing.
But I've been to a gym and I've seen a 5.6, and it's fairly beginner for a wall inside that's only 20 feet tall.
It's low angle, so low angle, I use scare quotes, because it's 60 degrees. It's, you could easily fall down that rock face and not catch yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not a hill. It's a real serious technical rock climb. So yes, it is free soloing, but we call it scrambling. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's like, or like lying to ourselves, like, oh yeah, we're going scrambling.
You want to be cool a little bit, Yeah. I'm going free soloing. Yeah. This feels better. Makes people more impressed.
I think it's just easier to explain.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate the definition, but yeah, the way you were telling me, I think you mixed it up. You told me it was a little bit of like hill incline, kind of like going up, and then actual vertical climbing.
Yeah. The down climb was the part that
I was telling him that you said you thought you were gonna die.
I was a little scared, but I
No,
keep to
don't
myself.
back off now. I remember you told me straight up, I was going to die. I was like, this is it. I'm going to fall and I'm going to die.
That was my thought at the top, and then I started going down it. And the thing is about that, and me and you have talked about this. It's a matter of trusting yourself and knowing your limitations. One of the greatest things that I've always loved about when I go climbing with my brother is he will assess my abilities and assess my limitations, and also make sure that I'm not overdoing it and putting myself in unnecessary harm's way. Which he yelled at me for playing football post-transplant, but that's a whole different story. That was when I yelled at you for breaking your back cliff diving. Yeah. I was like, what the hell are you doing? But would you classify yourself as an adrenaline junkie?
Okay, so no. Adrenaline, it's, you get that adrenaline rush, you're like shaky and you don't feel good. Like, I do not get that from the sports I do. Like adrenaline junkie, like people, it's kind of a misnomer. It's like I'm chasing flow state. I mean, there's endorphins or something, some chemicals, but just not adrenaline. I like getting into that state where it is just me doing what I'm doing, and that's all I'm thinking about, and all of my focus is going into that, and it's just like a heightened state of awareness.
Yes.
It's kind of like what Honnold talked about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so with like bouldering, sounds like you get on that boulder and you're working the moves.
You zone out of everything. It's what I like about the work that I do. Editing, in a weird way, what you chase is getting into a flow state in editing, and work in general is just like, I don't want any distractions. I want to just get in this. All of my brain is wrapping around this problem in front of me and like puzzling it out. And that's really what it is, because I don't like adrenaline either. It's why I don't play competitive multiplayer games. It's why I don't really like competitive sports as much as I do like cooperative sports, because I do get a lot of adrenaline. I'm a very competitive person, and I don't like the feeling of being itchy and like getting all anxious. And I only have one adrenal gland because I had the other one removed. It had a tumor in it, but I think it's like a super adrenal gland now. I think it compensated, because when I get a hit of adrenaline, it just like, it messes me up. I feel horrible, but I'm like super on edge. Every muscle's tense. It's the relaxed. It's the opposite. It's like you're letting the universe kind of flow through you, and your creativity is just kind of like pushing out.
I've noticed that too when I was like in grad school and writing papers and stuff. I get into a state of flow. And there were times, Dad will attest to this, where I'd be writing something and he'd say something to me and interrupt it. And I'd be like, oh, you interrupted my flow. And I wonder if that has anything to do with ADHD, because it's almost like that manic focus. It's the time where everything falls away and you're actually hyper fixated on the one thing you were doing. And if that possibly has a relation to why that's an active pursuit.
It probably does. I mean, ADHD is still misunderstood. I think like flow state is a universal thing. Humans can get into it, but it's also nebulous. Like you'll get like very hoity-toity definitions of it, like with people that are in yoga and stuff like that. I'm not saying yoga doesn't get into flow state. Don't ever get that wrong. Like, yes, that's probably the pursuit of that, but it's also just like, it's nebulous because it applies to so many different things. I think with ADHD, it's like uncontrollable where the flow state goes. It'll like randomly, like with lenses, I got like I got a hyperfixation about it. And then for 3 weeks, I could do nothing but just like my brain was just a constant loop of like thinking about it and needing to know more and bringing that in and running through the whole gambit of everything I understood, and then getting something else and running it through the whole gambit. It was, I don't know. I have no idea. That's a whole other topic.
That's the other thing. Much like you, I've noticed that until like you latch onto something for a while, you've flowed from a bunch of different sports throughout the years. I mean, you've tried a million things that I never would have thought of trying. From mountain biking, you've done some ice climbing. I mean, you've really pushed the limits of climbing that I didn't do. Like we did gym climbing, we climbed trees and we climbed rock faces. Like you went from just simple top rope and bouldering to then you started doing lead climbing, sport climbing, and then you even pushed all the way into trad. What is it that really drives you to actively pursue and get to the top pinnacle of each of these individual things? Because I mean, the amount of knowledge base that you have to have an understanding of equipment, to reading the environment for the snow as well as the air for the backcountry skiing and then the paragliding, that's something to me that there's so much front work and knowledge that you have to have that always seems like a barrier for me, at least interest wise, because it's like, oh, I don't know if I want to get into that. What is it that really pushed you to get into those high knowledge base and application of knowledge to be able to actually do those sports?
Well, like I said earlier, what got me into it was, hey, this is fun. And then you're like, oh, but look what you can do. Like, oh, that climb looks cooler and I want to do that one. Like, oh, if I can get better at climbing, I can go climb that face, or I can go climb El Capitan, which I still want to do. I haven't done it, but I really started to enjoy building the skill set of being able to go in all of these different environments and excel. So like learn the weather, learn the skills, and then so I can go into these high stress, high demand situations and environments and be able to travel across mountain ranges with rocks and snow and glaciers, and then even getting better at paragliding. So then I can do the same thing and go even farther with a paraglider in the sky. Same thing with the paraglider is you take those skills with the paraglider and you go do a technical rock climb to the top of some tower that the only way that you can get to the top of that is do this hard rock climb and then go launch my paraglider off the top. Or
you got to bring your whole paraglider up with you when you climb it?
Yeah. So we I don't know if you, I guess, Honnold does more just like single day free solos and stuff, but people do big walls and they have all of their gear and they have like their sleeping ledge in these haul bags.
Yeah.
And then they climb up and then they pull it up to where they stopped and then they climb up another pitch and then they pull their stuff up. So we did that. We put our paragliders, we actually just kind of like wrapped them in a tarp because we don't want to carry a whole haul bag up because then you have to fly it down. And then we like climbed up and we pulled up the gliders, pull up the gliders. Paragliding, the French call it vol biv. It's where you take your backpacking stuff, you get an ultralight tent and sleeping bag, food, and then you just go and you fly wherever you want and you land and you camp for the night. And then you launch and take off and then go fly to a new campsite.
Aerial backpacking is what I would imagine it.
Sky camping. That's kind of like the American version. Yeah, but the French, it's vol biv, fly camping.
Vol biv.
Yeah, do that all across the Alps.
That's crazy. That's crazy that you could even do that. It's the kind of things that you wouldn't even think about doing. But yeah, I guess. Totally. Man, that's nuts. You say who are you going with?
Oh, I have a huge community of paragliders and the climbing community, but the paragliding community, especially where I live, is really tight knit. And we go flying together at home and then we travel to different places abroad, go to the Alps, go to Valle de Bravo in Mexico in the wintertime. And then I'm going to Colombia next week to go fly there.
This is YouTube brain thinking about like, why don't you document this stuff? Like you could make a YouTube channel. It would bump.
I have so much footage. You talk about flow state, sitting down to edit. I'm like, I struggle at editing.
Well, that's the thing. All right. Look, you don't need to edit it yourself.
You can hire people.
Are you sitting on like a library of like terabytes of footage?
Yes.
How much? How much for this footage? What do you want? Put a number. Yeah. No, but I'm dead serious. Like that could be the start of an incredible YouTube channel. And I talk about YouTube channels in a way. It's like it's not about making money. It's about telling these stories. Like I'm willing to bet there are some crazy stories in that footage, some harrowing adventures. There's multiple documentaries in that alone.
Yeah, I've got footage. I've got ideas. I'm really bad at taking B-roll like while I'm doing the activity. So I feel like I have a bunch of action shots and not a lot of story shots.
Oh, so you're good at B-roll. You're bad at A-roll.
Oh, really? Yeah. When I say A-roll, like I'm thinking of like I'm flying and like there's this epic scenery and I'm like skirting the side of this cloud and there's this mountain range below me.
No, see, but you're totally fine because getting post interviews talking about it is the easiest thing in the world. You can fill in gaps with interviews any day. Listen, you and I will talk.
Okay, all right.
Let me get Netflix on the horn.
Well, the most fascinating thing is I went out to visit you just recently, and he talks about the community of like paragliders and climbers and stuff like that. And we went to a friend's birthday party, right? And I'm sitting there and I walk in and it's like I'm meeting people and I get along with people pretty well. And I sit down and it's just, I know you're speaking English, but I have no idea. I feel like I'm an alien on a foreign planet with their conversations about technical stuff.
It's like me or Mark listening to you and my dad talk about football, and you're like talking about the play, like, oh, you went like over the middle and behind the back and across the shoulder.
Heads, knees, and toes. Heads, knees, and toes.
Yeah.
Right wing. So
exactly, it's the same thing. And we're talking about flying, like, oh yeah, I caught this thermal and I was like ripping. It was like a +3,
like a boost or something like that.
Yeah, they hit turbo on it,
Yeah, and we touched tips and mashed bar.
Touch tips. Oh, right. Midair. Doink. Oh, yeah.
Or I remember seeing you like touch your toes on the top of somebody else's wing or something like that at one point. You'd call that a toe drag, toe touch, toe tap.
Yeah, a little toe drag.
A little tap dance.
All right.
Oh man, but it's so fascinating, and even though I don't understand it, it's so fun being in that environment and listening to it because you can hear the passion and the laughter and the joy and everything in it. And then there was somebody else who's like, "Oh, you don't paraglide either," and then we started talking about other stuff. But just being in that environment, it's so fascinating, and that's why like I really enjoy doing this podcast is because it gives people the ability to connect and be in those environments, and instead of being like, "Oh, it's gate capped, I will never understand it," is to open that world to other people. In a way, I really wanted to have you on here in the sense of you've opened my eyes to so many more sports that I never would have. I never would have played water polo or even considered swimming in college if it wasn't for you, because I was playing football and I really didn't enjoy it in high school because there was so much political stuff. But because you played water polo, I'd go to your meets and everybody would talk to me. And that's how I met Paul, who was our coach, who really actively recruited me. And so did Zach Woolery. And Steve did even a little bit. And it was so funny because I never would have played water polo. I never would have considered that potential if it wasn't for you. I never would have climbed if it wasn't for following you up trees and seeing the fun that was there in that aspect. Like in a lot of ways, as much as like I joke about like being bigger than you up to a certain point, but there's a lot of things that you did that inspired me. And the funniest thing about that is like, you're also the reason I didn't go into aeronautical engineering. And I'm thankful for that because I thought I would do that ever since 4th grade.
Really? Did I steal your dream?
I never told you this, but because you decided to go into engineering, I decided to pursue something else. And it was Nick who wrestled with us. He was a senior when we were freshmen, I think it was. And he was the son of the ump we had for baseball and stuff throughout Scovanner.
Mark Scovanner.
I had a conversation with him because he figured out what major he was going to do, and that's what led me into this. And I've always been passionate to talk about sports and stuff like that. And then afterwards, after I got my master's degree, and I didn't talk about this, I actually got burned out of sports. Being rejected from finding jobs and everything made me not enjoy it as much anymore. It wasn't until like, and I think about stuff all the time in every sense of the word, but it wasn't until we had the conversation on set for In Space, and you were like, this is a part of your life that I never knew.
Yeah, I had to talk him into it. He didn't want to do the podcast at first. And I've been like, dude, it'll be great.
And my passion is not necessarily about the sport anymore. I still love sports. But for me, it's the stories of people connecting with it. And it's opening the doors for the people that never have had the opportunity to have that sort of connection or knowledge about it. And that's what really sold me on eventually doing the podcast as we've continued to develop the show and everything. And so in a lot of ways, this room is with two of the people that literally made this podcast happen in more ways than either of you realize. You talking me into it, but you also pushing me to expand my horizons and seeing stuff that you're excited about that I never would necessarily be excited about, but pushed yourself to learn about it and to really understand it. And so this episode to me is a big deal because, for one, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you, but I wouldn't be out here and I wouldn't be creating, and I wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to talk about this aspect and why sports were such an important part of my life, because it was the one thing that I could hyperfixate on and flow with and get excited about, and also piss myself off to no end because I would do way worse than I should. But it opened up a world of connection and a possibility and a finding of something that I could relate to people with, that I didn't feel a barrier of like how I thought or how things worked. And it was something that just really pushed me to find something in a way greater than myself, but a part of myself in this space. And so that's why like I really latched onto this podcast, why I love doing this. And I love being able to meet people, especially people that only know me from this podcast. I feel like this is my way of giving a gift that I was given to other people.
All because I just wanted to go do fun things. I didn't have any idea that was that inspiring.
I mean, pursuing passions, it can start from the simplest places. Like I started doing YouTube just because I was going crazy. Like I needed to do something I could control. But the problem was I tried a bunch of things before YouTube, and it's like, I don't know how to do that. I can play a game. I can kind of talk. And so it starts from places just like, this seems fun. This seems like something I can do. Like at least my confidence, which is low at that point, can like, I can wedge in here. I didn't know if it'd be anything, but it's like, yeah, getting your foot in the door of something different. Because it was like what you're saying. It's like, you see this? Oh, if I get good enough, I could be up there. And it's like having those goals is super important just as a person. But you got to start somewhere. That's where everyone watching this, and what we encourage all the time is just like, it may seem like you can't, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't even try. Like, yeah, it's crazy to see what people are doing, and you know, their risks and everything. But it's like there's a foothold where there's fun type 1 to start with. There's at least somewhere where fun type 1 exists. Type 1 fun, whatever you call it. And then type 2 fun comes. And then the fun gets harder to get. Every step it's harder. But don't worry, it's not addiction. Even though it follows a cycle of addiction, it's not addiction.
But the thing is, type 2 fun for most people ends up being more fun than type 1. And the reason is because there's fulfillment that comes with it. As opposed to just, this is fun in the moment. Now it's over.
It's the grind.
It's like holding your bladder for a long time. It's more rewarding when you finally get to piss.
Don't do that. That's a terrible analogy. That's how you mess up your kidneys, not how mine got messed up.
No. Listen to my words. I've got wisdom beyond my years.
If there's one thing we all know, Mark gives the best advice. Never bad advice.
Never bad. You heard it here first. You heard it last from me. Never bad advice.
If anything, keep pursuing the stuff. It's awesome hearing your stories, as much as I'll not want to hear it at times, even if I don't understand it. That's why I still just like hearing your stories and what you talk about. I don't know what you're saying half the time, but you know, your tone of voice and the fact that in the last few years, the amount of joy I've seen come from you has been fantastic.
Thanks, Tyler.
It's been cool to hear him secondhand, because it does seem like there's this mythical being throwing lightning bolts off of mountains and soaring through the air.
I gotta put stuff on YouTube, and then you can actually see what I'm doing.
I bet it would be pretty cool. I think it would be, and I think it's a way to showcase the world more stuff.
Well, if you want to keep up with his adventures, go check out his Instagram. You go ahead and shout that out.
Go upside down,
which he does a lot. Can attest to that. I still need to learn how to do a backflip again, but.
Again?
I used to do them on trampolines.
It's easy. You just look.
After a few months, I did one backflip, and then I was like, all right, I did it, and I never did it again.
I try to do a backflip like once a year. My backflip on skis last week didn't it didn't end gracefully, but I went upside down.
That's all that matters. If that's the goal, whatever happens after, doesn't matter.
If you have any jacuzzes or want to interact with the podcast in any way, you can put your own primers and suggestions up. Go to the Reddit.
They can't put their primer suggestions up. That's not what a jacuzzi is for.
No, that's a different flare. I was talking about a different flare.
Yeah, but you made it sound like it's the same one.
Oh, well, jacuzzes are for errors or grievances that you want to file.
I have a jacuzzi.
Yeah!
We got a live jacuzzi. All right, let's go.
I haven't prepared this, but yes, the paragliding episode.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, you left out a lot of stuff. I'd be happy to fill you in on the actual sporting nature of paragliding. Mark was accusing me and paragliding of not being a sport.
Don't look at me like that's your fault.
Didn't really cover the paragliding World Cup, or you did some hike and fly races. Earlier, Mark and I were talking, and there's a paragliding world champion, and that could be a...
When you win it, I will cover it.
No, this is great, because it brought up
a good point.
It brought up another definition of what could qualify as a sport. If there's a world champion at a certain activity, that should be in favor of it being a sport.
I don't know if it has to be a qualifier, but I definitely agree with you.
I feel like as soon as he said there's a world championship and a world champion, I was like, oh, it's a sport. Of course it is, because there's a champion. If there's a champion, how can it not be a sport?
That's fair. It's hard to get into, because some people would argue people have world championships in music.
Who's the world? What? Who's
I
what?
don't know.
Actually, no, you're right.
Is there a cello?
There's a cello off and just two guys.
Duel of the cellos. You have to both play music and beat the other one.
Well, the thing is, if that was a thing, it would suddenly be a sport. You'd be like, oh, that's a sport. They're dueling.
That's fair. That's a really good point.
Because if you can pick up a cello and swing it, you're very strong. You gotta be real strong.
This is the first time we've edited an episode with a jacuzzi. That's fascinating.
As I like that. I didn't do any research before this episode, so I didn't see any jacuzzis, but it's not my fault. It's Tyler's.
It is my fault. It is entirely my fault. But put your jacuzzis on the subreddit. If you have primer suggestions, there are flares for that. Just make sure you give a story with it, why it's important to you, or something interesting about it that really makes you want us to cover it. And then we might make an episode out of it.
Yeah, something we could talk about. Something really cool. That'd be nice.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Yeah, this has been really fun.
We'll see you in whatever comes next. Bye.